gentlemen, welcome to The Breakdown, where we break down Call of Duty, what's going on in the Call of Duty community, bringing everything to you guys that you guys want to hear. I believe this is our 5th episode today, Zin. Does it feel like we're that far in?
It doesn't. It might be 6th, 5th or 6th.
One of the two.
5th or 6th. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. The Breakdown. We'll be recapping, obviously, Major 4. Had a good time in Columbus with the boys. Watch party went great, and obviously had an insane slate of matches. But excited to be back in the back cave and ready to get on into it.
Yeah.
And obviously, I look like a fucking egg.
That's okay. It'll grow back.
Yep.
Sometimes it doesn't, but it'll
grow back. It's growing back already.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing you guys our first segment of the day. Let's not waste any time. Let's get into the weekend review.
And this may be a tough one to understand, but listen very closely. The weekend review is where we review the matches or matches that stood out to us on the weekend and just run through them a bit. Started with Rocker Thieves. That obviously went as we thought.
How we expected it.
How we expected. Obviously, Thieves end up taking the tournament home.
I had Thieves actually in my bracket as I had Optic and Thieves in the grand final, but I had Optic winning the final 4-2. So does that make me the world's biggest jinx because Thieves end up winning 4-2?
See, look, you bring it on yourself, man.
I know. I kind of play into it.
I think you might be the biggest jinx I know.
I kind of like it a little bit. I kind of like you guys thinking that I'm a jinx. But yeah, LA Thieves come in. They clean up Rocker. It was a big match for Rocker. But looking past that, there's a 3-0 New York versus Vegas.
That was a little surprising. I'm not going to lie. That being said, we always do discuss New York and how they're a team that's like one day they can look on top of the world, one day they can look pretty lackluster.
I mean, New York gets 4th at the tournament. They've had a little bit of a rocky road. I'm not talking ice cream.
That's a good fucking ice cream.
Yeah, I'm not talking ice cream. But yeah, they come in, they win the first major, and then they get, 12th and 8th or 8th and 12th? I don't remember the exact order. But now, finally starting to show some form again. They end up getting top 4. And a big win over Vegas. Vegas needed that win very badly. And they get 3-0 stomped. It's not how Vegas just didn't really look like the Vegas we saw online this week.
Yeah, no, I mean, Vegas really kind of bottled this one. They were obviously in a really tight race with Rocker, and now Rocker taking a little bit of a lead, 20-point lead, and especially going into Vegas' schedule going forward. We'll talk about them more a little later because we want to talk about their schedule. They have the gauntlet coming up. They have a really tough stage, so for them to come out to the major and lose 2 matches in a row.
Hardest schedule.
Tough one. FaZe Surge, FaZe 3-1. I think FaZe bounced back. Surge obviously 3-0 kind of.
Can I just say, Damon just walked by our glass
and
doors.
He's moonwalking that way, just like dangling like a little like
a Slim Jim as his. Talk about checking out.
Picture Karma and his wife walking in front of him, and Damon moonwalking with a Slim Jim. Dude, that guy's a fucking nut.
Yeah. Next up, let's get back on track. We had Optic Texas taking on the Boston Breach. This series got a little bit sketchy. After this series, Optic, they still end up closing the series 3-1, but this was close. And Boston Breach, they kind of threw a little bit, maps 3 and 4. I don't know if you remember, but the control was super close. And then map 4, they had a P2 rotation on Hotel, and they were like right there from closing Optic out. Yeah. On those 2 maps, and Optic just comes out and clutches up.
Yeah,
so Boston Breach, they make a change.
We also see another change from Boston, Nero to the bench, and Vivi coming in. We'll talk about that a little bit more coming up later, but that was, you're right, that was a sketchy one. Atlanta FaZe Surge, this one was huge because Surge obviously choke slammed them online 3-0. People were talking about FaZe looking vulnerable. They come in, they make a statement, 3-1 versus Surge.
Slasher plays well. A lot of people been on Slasher as well. Slasher comes in, they play well, they beat the Surge. Let's kind of speed these up a little bit.
We don't got to go through all of them, man. I mean, Surge and LAG go last map, they win 3-2. Florida beat Vegas 3-2. That's a huge one. Florida was down 5-2 last map, Fortress Search. Vegas absolutely bottled that one, and it could be the reason they don't attend champs. So
I mean,
that was a huge match and a huge blunder from the side of Vegas.
That alone, we talk about Call of Duty and how fickle and slippery that slope can be whenever things start going wrong. And, they're up 5-2 on map 5, Vegas, to keep their tournament lifeline alive. And they end up just came back on. And those 4 rounds for Vegas, I bet you they went like that. Like, it happens so fast. And then you're just sitting there with your hands in your head. And
on a map like Fortress, you should be guaranteed a round win. Like, go plant the bomb A. Like, it was a serious blunder. Rocker 3-0 London. I don't think we have much to discuss there.
Yeah, not a surprise there.
Ultra 3-1 breach. I think that was sort of one of our favorite matches.
A little bit of a rivalry match as well.
Yeah, we wanted to see how that ended, and Toronto obviously come out 3-1, and like we said, Boston end up making a change. But what matches stood out from you on the next day? I mean,
Friday, this one stood out to me a lot. The Minnesota versus Seattle Surge. We saw Mac in that 1v1. I think it was 4-4, the 4-4 round, and things just go wrong. Things go wrong.
It was 4-3. Yeah, it was tough, man. He had that grenade. Probably could have found the better of Afro. That being said, it happens to everybody. Has happened to all of us.
Yeah.
He obviously received a bunch of flack for that, but was a tough one for my boy. And obviously, Surge go home a little earlier than we thought they'd be going home.
Yeah, Zen, keep breaking down some of these matches. I'm actually going to go pull that one up for the deep dive. Keep going through them.
Ultra 3-0 against Florida. No surprises there. Thieves FaZe. I think everybody was excited to watch the Battle of the Red Sea, the Red Wedding, if you will. And Thieves come out 3-1, played pretty well. FaZe, sort of as the tournament went on, I think FaZe looked more and more vulnerable. We obviously saw them lose to Optic on the final day. 3-0, Optic Texas over New York. Huge match there. FaZe 3-2 over Ultra. That was a close one. I mean, all these were great. Then we get to Sunday, and we have Thieves versus Texas, Optic Texas. That one was one that we were obviously looking forward to, and we were on the couch talking about it. No matter who won that match, we were confident that would be the final, the grand final, no matter what.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't really care who won it in the sense where it's like I was confident that whoever lost it was still going to be in the grand final.
Yeah.
Like, I still had Optic and Thieves as the top two teams in the game. Thieves obviously closed that one out 3-1. It was a close series, but Thieves looking lights out. FaZe New York. FaZe actually clutched up and win that one 3-2. So that one goes down to the wire. We obviously saw Abizi single-handedly clutch the hotel search and destroy. Drops, I believe, 16, 17 kills. Has a 1v3, a 1v4.
Abizi was doing his thing. That guy was single-handedly putting on a show on the side of FaZe. Some huge clutches down the line. I think he gets, a 1v3 and a 1v4? Was it in the same map?
Yeah, it was same map, 1v3, 1v4. I mean, Abizi single-handedly won FaZe the map. And then FaZe move on to play Optic, and they kind of get put down pretty hard. Optic win 3-0 and kind of make a statement going into that grand final.
I found the clip. We're good. Sorry, I completely forgot about that. I was planning all day and
don't worry about it, man.
Just missed that one clip, but we got it for you guys.
But yeah, I mean, grand final, Thieves Optic. I think it gets as close as you can possibly get. Thieves, I think they just turn up in hardpoint immensely going into the weekend. I think Optic obviously looked like the strongest hardpoint team in the game going into the tournament, and now we can honestly say that Thieves and Optic are top two respectively.
Both S tier, the only two S tier teams in the game right now. I think Thieves before the tournament were saying that Optic was getting the better of them in the hard points, and sometimes when you get to a tournament and things just start gelling well, those can turn into map wins. And
Damon is now walking yet again back us, but this time he's rubbing his nipples as he walks by and stares at us.
Yeah, thank you, Damon.
Damon.
Thieves look phenomenal. You can't take anything away from them. Bruce was a little bit unhappy about the format. He says that it's a Neslo format because the last three maps are search, control, search.
I will say it now. One more hard point, one less control.
I don't know. I feel like you have to have like two controls.
What did I tell you I'd rather watch than...
a whole lot of different things.
Yeah, I would rather watch a lot than watch control. Honestly, I have to be honest. I'd much rather prefer... I think hardpoint and search are the most competitive game modes we have, especially based on the maps we have in the game.
Yeah.
So I would like to see one less control. Honestly,
good luck getting that changed.
We're not opening this can of worms, but please, 2 best of 5s, bring it back. It is not difficult to understand. It's actually very simple. It's 2 best of 5 series.
He's spitting right now.
I mean, unless you're a newborn, it's not the hardest concept to grasp, and it's by far the best possible format for Call of Duty.
Yes, I agree.
So bring back 2 best of 5s. At the very least, bring back best of 9. Best of 7, shit. As Cammy would say, off shite.
Yes. I agree with you there. I think 2 best of 5s would make things a lot better for the players. Honestly, for the viewers at home as well. You want to see high octane gameplay out there, and 2 best of 5s would really deliver that for us. It puts so much pressure on both series instead of just one prolonged one, because obviously that can get out of hand really quickly. But that was our weekend review. Congrats to Thieves again for winning the tournament.
Dominant showing, man. Dominant.
They look great, and Optic also looked great. And those two teams just look like they're in a league of their own at this moment. And I think that we're going to see that battle again moving on here down the road.
And I think everybody, just to touch real quick on that, just like to finally end this segment, I think people overthink the living shit out of like a series like that. And they see Thieves versus Optic and they're like, why can't Optic win? Like, how do they play second again? We're playing competitive Call of Duty. The skill gap is already low, and these two teams have managed to still like assert dominance despite the low skill gap.
Yeah.
So when you have two Goliath teams going back and forth, Thieves and Optic,
I thought it was going 7.
I think either team could take it on any given day. Like, it's not like this team is so much better than this team. They came out firing.
That's
on
how
that
Call
day.
of Duty is.
And if these teams face off 10 times, I think they go 5 for 5 with their current form.
And that's how a lot of things are. I feel like a lot of things. Whenever teams are at that caliber, it's whoever just shows up on the day. And Thieves, they came out and they played red hot.
Yeah, but holy shit, was it a spectacle to watch. That's the weekend review. Sorry, I think we rambled on a bit, but we had so many good matches and it was such a fun weekend, especially being Major 4. But
I mean, it was a major. We gotta sprinkle a little bit extra on top. Majors are the big time.
Can you tell me what's next?
Next up, we've got the breakdown. Team of the Major. Obviously, we have a Team of the Week, but on the major weekends, this is our Team of the Major. I think it's a pretty solid lineup. This lineup would be a scary one to face in games.
Unless they faced me.
Yes, of course. But you also just got smoked in our inaugural beer league.
Dude, it doesn't count, dude. Like, I was playing on
I think the people at home would disagree, but...
Listen, you're a good one.
Would you like to introduce the first player, or would you like me to?
I mean, he won MVP and now he's engaged. Shout out to Octane.
Yeah. The guy has been doing it all on all fronts of life. Now engaged. Also the MVP of Major 4. And holy cow, well deserved. The guy is... I mean, you have to straight out say it at this point. He is the best AR in the game right now.
I mean, he has looked so damn good. And like, in this clip right here that you're watching... What's impressive is how easy it looks for him. I think it's a testament to not only his like awareness and his play style, but also how good the team is, where like he is just set up as a true main AR. And Octane will always thrive if he can post up, knows where players are coming from, and can just do his thing. And he did that all weekend long, all stage long. I mean, he was lights out in the qualifiers. The kid was, like you said, the best AR in the game in stage 4.
Yeah, I don't think it's really debatable. He had a 1.16 overall at the major. Obviously, this is not for the whole split. This is only talking major. He had a 1.18 in hard point with 100 seconds of average hill time. Damn. He has the most hill time in the game while putting up these numbers.
He's not Killhorn.
No.
He's in the hill while getting kills, throwing up damage. He actually did the number 2 all-time career grand finals KD. So once again,
the guy
congrats to Sam, not only for the win and the performance, but also on the engagement. Happy for him and his fiance. Congrats to Sam and I mean, great job. I mean, the kid.
Pat yourself on the back, Sammy,
was
if you're watching.
legitimately next level.
Yeah, he was.
And next time, you're going to watch that fucking window.
Yes, you will.
You're going to watch that fucking window. And if you know, you know. He knows.
Yes, you will.
He knows.
You'll watch that window,
Who's next?
Sammy. You want me to introduce next?
Yeah, he's dumb, but you can do it.
Next up, he's dumb, but he's
good.
very good at finessing green. It's one of the fan favorites, one of our favorites, none other than Shots.
Look at him go. Look, dude, it blows my mind how someone can just be so... He didn't know that Maine was a U.S. state.
He thought it was in Europe.
He thought Maine was in Europe, but he's doing shit like this to people. I mean, I think he's the Call of Duty equivalent to Spider-Man. He's bouncing off walls. He's diving down staircases. He's finding the kills. And obviously, he's on a top 2 team in the world, and he's one of the main reasons for that. I mean, he's been electric all stage long. He's been one of the best players in the league since joining.
Yeah.
So we can sit here all day. We all know how good Shots he is. He, of course, came out to the major frying. They play second.
Whole team fried.
Yeah. Whole team played incredible. I mean...
Him, Kyler, I mean, as a sub-duo... Are they the best sub-duo in the world right now, or do you kind of have to give that to Thieves at the moment after their major win?
Like I said, I don't think it's so black and white. I think you can put Kenny and Envoy or Kyler and Shotzzy on any given day. It's not like a 1 and 2. I think it's kind of like a 1 and 1, if that makes sense. And it just depends on who comes out frying that day. Like, I think once you reach that pinnacle and that level, there isn't an actual, these two are clear-cut better. Like, there's no way to actually tell, at least in my perspective.
The guy's so impactful on the map. He has a 1.1 overall for the major, which doesn't really tell the tale of the impact that he has. He has a 1.08 in hard point, 1.0 in search and destroy and a .92 in control. But again, the plays that he makes that impact the team and how they get to win the map.
I'd like to apologize to Slasher because it seems that Shotzi is 13-0 against him.
Slasher hates playing that bastard.
I mean,
Slasher sees him in the lobby and he just
the problem is
fool.
So Austin's lost to Shotzi wearing the snapback, not wearing the snapback.
Doesn't matter.
What's next?
Bandana. He's got a
magician's hat.
Yeah.
A bandana.
Something.
A fedora.
Something. I mean, we're going in on Slasher right now. He had a good weekend.
He played great, but he's got to put something new. I'll deflate his arms with a pin, dude. He thinks he thinks he's Bradley Martin. I'll smack his head. I'll snap back off his head. Next up, another Optic player. Dashy. I mean, the kid, just like Octane, was up there, top 2 AR, I think, of the entire split. Dominant Slayer.
And at the major. I mean, he didn't slow down. He had a great online qualifier, but at the major, he's right there with Sam. He had a 1.16 as well.
Yep. And then
they're both just incredible. They're 1 and 2. It's like however you want to order them is how you want to order them. But these two players are playing out of their mind at the main AR position. And you got to think, both these teams apply a lot of pressure. Do you think it kind of helps these two out?
Yeah. And I think especially when you have someone as talented as Brandon. And I feel like when you have the top teams facing off, the game is just so like straight up where like it's not like fluky in a sense. Like, hear me out. I think when top teams sometimes play like lower echelon teams, I feel like the gameplay isn't as smooth because reading them is harder, if that makes sense. I know me and you can relate to this. I'm trying to convey it to the public where it's like
you just know what they're going to do. They don't do like any
the top
funky
teams play
shit.
The same way for the most part. Like you can very easily as a top team read another top team. Here he was 1.16
I
at the
think
major.
he might have had the highest damage per 10 minutes at the major.
Yeah, no, he was.
I'm looking at it right now, and he's the only player that I see above 3K in hardpoint, which is just impressive work. He has a 1.23 in hardpoint, a 1.16 in search, and a 1.06 in control. Across the board, he was consistent throughout the major, and he's a big reason why Optic has such a good placing. Again, Optic's
and the kid can snipe, man. I mean, the kid, we've talked about fellow, but the fact remains that of the current snipers in the CDL, he's the most talented.
Yes.
Like, we saw him get a collat, which is nearly impossible at the pro level, very, very rare. We'll be seeing that later on in a later segment, of course.
Perhaps we will, Zen.
And Brandon was lights out.
Yeah, Brandon played out of his mind, and big reason why they got second again. They're putting up consistent placements. Next up, last but not least, this kid was crazy. Personally, he is my finals MVP. If we were to do a split MVP, it's Kenny. He's my finals MVP. He had like 14,000 damage. And he kind of closed the door on Optic in that last control. I mean, closing the map and closing the tournament are the most important thing, obviously. And he closes that door. He was making some huge plays on that Asilo.
I think you misspoke. And as your boy, let me just say, I think you meant your stage MVP was Octane. Your grand finals MVP is Kenny. And I agree. I think Ken showed up, had a chip on his shoulder, and he was lights out. I think Kenny has kind of always been underrated and has received like a lot of flack throughout his career, but his ceiling has always been up there with like the best players in the world. Like World War II, he was the best player in the game. If you're a pro, you know that Kenny's potential is literally like one of the, if not the best players in the world.
And right now he's playing some good COD.
So Ken showed up, and we've talked about Thieves time and time again. It's like as the year progresses and as we get closer and closer to champs, this team just turns it up a notch. Kenny turns it up a notch, and they start moving as one. So don't have enough good things to say about Ken.
I do want to throw an honorable mention out there to Dylan as well. Dylan had the better stats overall for the weekend, but I just think Kenny was so damn impactful down the line in that tournament that it's kind of hard to deny him being on Team of the Major. Again, my finals MVP. Sam would be my split MVP if I were picking one, or Octane for people that don't know their first names. But Kenny with a .94 in hardpoint, a 1.37 in search, and a .96 in control, but doesn't really speak to how impactful he was on the map for that Thieves roster. So congratulations. That's our breakdown Team of the Major. It's a pretty solid squad.
I mean, this team would be a tough one to spawn in with. I mean, I think Dashy and Octane a little bit. It would take some time to get moving. Dashy would probably have to speed it up a little bit, but this roster would be pretty scary. We obviously had to make a team what we thought were like every player in the grand finals went off, and these guys just stood out and obviously went above and beyond. But
some honorable mentions. Pred had the highest KD of the tournament. Sib as well was right under him, but obviously Seattle don't get the placement that they wanted, so it's kind of hard to throw them the love that they probably do deserve, but they just didn't advance far enough in the tournament for us to be able to put them on. Hydra did his thing, of course, as always. Scrap. I mean, Draws had a tournament. A lot of people talking about Draws recently, just based on the way he is as a player and the shit talk. But a lot of players went above and beyond, man. Yes, sir.
Like you said, Envoy, Ghosty, shout out to Dan. The kid was making plays all weekend long, but these four stood out to us. Obviously, you could argue it. Many players could have slotted in, but these guys were pretty next level. So,
absolutely. And joining us.
What is that? It's time for what segment?
It's the 1v2, and we've got a very special guest, one that I'm excited to have onto the show. We said we were going to try to stray away from people on the team of the week, and this week we did. It's none other than Matt Hag, Nadeshot.
What's up, dude?
Am I muted?
No, you're good, baby.
Now you're good.
How long have you known me? You still mispronounce my last name? That's crazy.
What? Haig? Is it Haig?
Yeah, you said Hag. That's flopped.
Dude, my bad.
Haig.
That's my bad. I'll never.
You know what's wild about this whole thing, dude? I can't believe Shane cheated. I can't.
I mean, you're asking our questions for us.
I mean, honestly, if Shane doesn't sit behind you guys and watch you, you probably beat us 4-0 in finals.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about?
There he is. Yeah, Nadeshot. I mean, you just came in right off the rip, and he came in hot.
Yeah, look how well placed those cans are. He fucking said, "Hey, Joe, get over here. Let's play some nice for the camera." I see what you're doing.
Hey, brother, we got to think ahead. You know what I mean?
I see what you're doing.
You're putting me in 3 different group DMs with your producer. Like, I know you guys are very decisive.
That's because he doesn't communicate.
There's a lot of things going on.
He did it without telling me.
Yeah, I'm not very good at communicating. Because of, not very good at that.
That's okay, brother. Me neither. Yeah. I'm actually shocked by the quality, too. The whole setup looks great. You guys doing a good job.
Thank you, bro.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome.
You're our first ever non-player on the show. Obviously, congrats.
So how are you on the show, then?
Wait, what did he say?
That was like the worst dad joke. He said
well, you can't call me a non-player. I mean, you're hosting the damn thing.
Sorry, former player.
That's actually fair.
Sorry, former player. I meant... You're the only non-current CDL pro that we've had on the show so far.
Nice job, dude. I got you on your toes, bro. I know what you meant. Thank you.
Welcome. Congrats on the win. Obviously, we saw your reaction. You and Spence can barely fucking stand with that reaction, but congratulations.
Wait, I think they got me on the webcam mic. Hold on. Did Joe set me up?
It's okay. You sound
I think
good
you sound pretty solid.
If you want to try to change it. Yeah, I wouldn't change it, honestly, because that just opens up a whole can of worms. But Matt,
I got this nice little microphone here.
It's okay. Let me get into the questions quickly here for you, brother. First off, I want to ask, obviously, former Optic member, huge instrument in the building of Optic. How much do you play into that Thieves versus Optic rivalry? Is it something that makes you just, gets you going a little bit more whenever those two teams play?
I mean... Yeah, honestly, of course. I don't know. I feel like when we got into the CDL, I think I remember somebody saying that on the Optics camp that you wouldn't consider it a rivalry. But I don't know. Maybe it's selfish of me to think, since I spent so much time in Optic and in competitive Call of Duty, I don't know how it wouldn't be a rivalry. But maybe I need to be more involved with the team. I don't know. But yeah, it always feels good to beat you guys in the finals. I'm not happy about it because I know... How many finals Hector probably saw his teams go to and be on the losing end of it? It's not easy to deal with. So I don't know. It's like bittersweet, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm happy we did it, but I know how it feels to lose, and I know how it feels to lose as a player for Optic. So it's never fun making anybody deal with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Well said.
Well said. I ask everybody on here what their daily routine is as a player. What's your daily routine as a CEO? Obviously not every single thing, but what's your life looking like these days?
It looks like he was playing some golf
as the owner of one of the biggest esports organizations in the world. Waking up early and shit?
Yeah, I think my daily routine has kind of shifted quite a bit since I started dating my fiance. We're getting married in a couple months, but I used to go to bed super late, wake up super late. And ever since 100 Thieves started, I've been going to bed early, waking up early. And it's awesome, dude. The way the sun sets on the earth. That's the way I would describe it. No, just the early mornings I love now, which I never would have expected myself to enjoy. So it depends on the day of the week. I think things have shifted quite a bit over the last 6 years. It's like a mixed bag of responsibilities, but on most days I'll go into the office depending on what we need to do. If it's meeting with investors, if we have a board meeting or the content team, we got so many different departments and I got to spend time with all of them as much as I can. That makes sense. So you'll have weeks where I'm going to the office 8 hours a day, and then you'll have weeks where I'm streaming 8 hours a day. It really just depends on what we have in the pipeline that I need to be involved with. So it's not really like a great answer because it just changes often, quickly, and sometimes I get a lot of hours to stream and make content, and some hours I got to be tapped in with the entire business. So it's a lot of different things, and it fluctuates quite a bit.
Yeah, it makes sense because you kind of ditched us like we were grinding and shit, and
I know,
and you were active.
And just boom,
we had such a fun squad, and then
he was out of there.
The texts go unanswered, and you're golfing.
No. I was responding to texts.
Yeah,
for
he
the
was
most part.
No, it's all right, man.
He was responding. Don't do that to him.
Yeah, it's tough too because I get FOMO when you guys are streaming every day. Like there's some days and some weeks and some months where I love being in the office, but then when I'm really hooked on a game like Valorant or Rank Play, I just have so much FOMO that I need to completely remove myself from Call of Duty or Valorant so that I can focus on what I need to do, or else the entire time I'll feel like I'm in fucking jail. Yeah. So that's why I go off the grid so much, because I can't be half in something and half out.
Yeah.
My brain only works with like full commitment to one thing. And I'm not good at compartmentalizing any responsibilities. So that's why I kind of.
It's a great answer.
So
you took
a wise man.
You took my joke and you gave people so much knowledge, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. But ask our next question, man.
Yeah. So I gotta know, what were you doing the exact moment Thieves won? We saw you on the video on was it Thieves Twitter? I think they tweeted out your reaction. It was Jack's birthday. What was that moment like for you?
Well, I'll tell you what, the house was actually pretty dead. I was coming back from the golf course, and I watched Winners Finals versus Optic, and we were up 2-1, I think it was. And I was like, holy shit. Because I'll be honest with you guys, and I think I said this on the podcast as well that I do with my assistant Joe, I wasn't sure what was going to happen in that Winners Finals. And you guys know how it goes too. Even after you win, I don't know if you guys ever felt like this as a player, but nowadays, with how it used to be, where you would have an advantage going into the grand finals coming from winners bracket, to me, Optic and the way that they're playing right now, without being in the scrims and watching every single day, I just felt like that was a hard team to beat twice. You know what I mean? Like, I know we were beating the hell out of FaZe towards the latter half of last year, but we went into COD champs. I'm like, holy shit, dude, we gotta win. What was it? A best of 9? We got to win 5 maps. Like that's a tall order.
It's hard.
So I think that's kind of what was running through my mind throughout that entire day. And then when, going back to your original question, what I was doing, just on pins and needles, dude, that entire control was just so mixy. It felt like it was 50-50 the entire time. We should have closed it out when it was 2-1 and we didn't. And I'm like, God damn it, we just left the door open. And, players like Dashy and Shotzi, they're not going to miss that opportunity twice. So I was just nervous throughout the entirety of that last map. But when we finally won, I think it was on the second to last side. But either way, Kenny made some big plays and was sort of finessing throughout the entirety of an offensive round. And when he was staying alive and picking up kills off spawn, I was like, God damn it, I think they might have it. So it was just like blacking out, excitement. It's weird. I actually think I enjoy winning now as an owner than I did as a player. Really? They're definitely not apples to apples, but I don't have any control over how our team is going to perform. And so I don't know if it's because I'm pessimistic, but I always just expect the worst. Your community doesn't let you hear the end of it if you make it all the way to the finals and end up losing. And it just hurts more than you could ever understand. I mean, I know you guys got to experience it, but I think it's the lack of control that we have that just sends me through the fucking roof.
Yeah.
So when we won, it was just, it was an incredible feeling.
Yeah, I get very anxious watching, just not having control. But it's actually crazy because that was one of my questions for you was if you got the same rush of winning as a player or being an owner, and you kind of just answered that for us. But Zin, go ahead, ask away.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about the COD League as a whole to you now that you're an owner. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you've been Call of Duty pretty much your entire life, and obviously the esports space is like a weird space right now. There's a lot of talk around esports and revenue, but like the Call of Duty League, like, are you still optimistic? Are there things that obviously you have your criticisms, but just give me your overall thoughts on the league as a whole?
Oh shit. Well, I'll tell you what, all these know-it-alls are gonna give me a hard time at probably a couple of these points. Dude, I actually think the CDL era has been pretty damn good for the competitive Call of Duty community. And I know that might sound controversial, but you guys know how it was back when we had open bracket and pool play and all of these players that we knew were tier 1 and belonged on pro teams, but people didn't really care about how they performed and what they ended up doing at any given event. And nowadays, since there's only 12 teams, and you can argue that maybe the regionalization of it all didn't make sense, or you can poke holes in anything that you want to talk about when it comes to the franchise teams. But in the last few years, especially the year that we weren't a part of things with competitive Call of Duty, I've never seen so much interest around 12 teams, 4 players on each team, and where they're playing for, what the offseason is like, all the drama that happens, all the turnover. I actually think the CDL era in terms of fandom has been pretty good for Call of Duty. I mean, there might have been a couple turbulent years when you couldn't have, Optic. It had to be Chicago Huntsman or whatever. But I actually think CDL era has been good. I think some of the tournament formats and the league play and the ranked and everything with how they play week to week sometimes can feel a little jarring and out of place. But overall, I think CDL has actually been pretty good. Obviously I'm not focused on any of the negative things, but overall I think it's been good. And for me, I've just really enjoyed being back in the fold with competitive Call of Duty. All this talk about esports, to your earlier point, and as long as teams make smart decisions from here on out, there's always going to be these tier 1 organizations backing players. And I think expectations have been reset for the managers and the agents and the owners and all the relationships that come down to negotiations and contracts. There's still some other things that need to be figured out over the next couple of years to make esports a viable business opportunity, no matter what part of the fold that you come into, whether it's as a publisher, a player, a team, the partners that support the teams. Like, it's a mixed bag of problems that need to be figured out. But overall, Call of Duty never worries me. I mean, everybody looks at some of the worst Call of Duties we've had, which I would argue have probably been like 2 out of the last 6 people say are like worst Call of Duty ever. But the shining point of Call of Duty that's always been is the entertainment factor of the players and their relationships with the teams that they're on, and the other players, to the community. Like, some games feel like it's a purist, competitive, results-driven video game and esport. But with Call of Duty, I mean, there can be wins and losses at any given time, but the players or the community is more invested in the players and how that shapes out overall. So I'm not worried about Call of Duty. Like, there's always been viewership, and it's stayed, and it's been consistent. We just had our highest viewer event like 2 majors ago. I mean, Seth, your fucking watch parties have been electric. Like, Call of Duty, no matter what happens to the game, it just always is consistent. And you can't say the same for other games. So I'll never really worry about Call of Duty.
Love that answer.
Yeah. Wow. I got one more question for you, Matt, and then we're going to let you go. It's kind of a trolly one. When Zinni blacklisted us, how did that really make you feel deep down? He thought that he was getting away from it with his dumb ass, but he's not getting away from it today.
Oh, okay. So you want like a full-blown
oh my god
truth.
Oh my god.
Keep it keep it a little bit in line, but how did it make you feel?
Oh my god.
All right. So I think there's a misconception from Ant. I don't know. I think guys in general, or at least the friends that I keep around, the people that I've been exposed to, are pretty good about not holding shit deep down and causing resentment, right? And I'm certainly somebody that can't deal with negativity in my life and bumps in the road when it comes to a relationship with a person. And so I'm quick to forget. And so I really passed that time in my life, I don't know, maybe like the first year after the blacklist stuff, I didn't really care. Like, I've always liked Ant. Like, you're funny, you're easy to be around, you can always chop up in a conversation, and I've always been a big fan of yours. The day after we played that pro-am together, I'm like, this is a good kid. You know?
Damn.
I think the only thing, like, if you wanted the real answer, the reason why it bothered me so much when it happened was just because I thought, and I'm not trying to sound like it was the cool table at the high school cafeteria, but we brought you into the fold. And it really wasn't even about like Optic and how big it was. Like, I don't actually think about it that way.
Dude, stop.
I just genuinely fucked with you. And I thought that we were becoming pretty good friends. And sort of, but I get how it is when you're a kid and there's drama and you want everybody to like you. So you're piling it on while everybody else is talking shit. You just want to be one of the guys on every single side of that table. Like, I looked at it from so many different perspectives, but I think as somebody who didn't really have an ordinary high school experience, I didn't really start having those really strong friendships until I was in the second half of my gaming career. And I fucked with you a lot. And so it kind of just hurt that you were shitting on us with everybody else, but I never held on to it. You know what I mean? I get it. We were kids, dude. Half the shit that has ever happened that I've ever had beef with anybody in Call of Duty, I don't give a fuck. I just want to be friends with everybody, dude. We grew up with each other.
Hell yeah.
Like, we did something that nobody else ever is going to get to experience in most cases. And it's kind of like this unspoken, I don't know, bond that I think we all have, bro. Like, anybody that I've ever had beef with, like, anytime I see him now, it's just like, bro, me and Aches get along really well. The Crim Six and Clayster, I fucking hated them when we played together. Hated them.
Yeah.
And now all I want to do is have a beer with them because, like, competition and you're fighting for your fucking life and your career, you just get emotional. Everybody wants to win. Somebody's got to lose. And you're relying on 3 other people next to you to try to perform at the same time. That's just, you're not equipped when you're that young to deal with all of that pressure and emotion. It's a hard thing to conceptualize. And we all did that shit together. So yeah. I've never really held ill will against it.
Wow. Nadeshot, definitely our most insightful 1v2 by far. I mean, thank you so much. Unless you got one more question.
Guys, let's go. Let's keep it spitting, brother.
That one.
What the fuck? That one on for 10 minutes?
That one got to me a bit, man.
We got a lot of segments here, Matt.
Hold on, let me ask you this. Why do you guys act like cops on this show? You guys have so much personality.
We're trying to loosen up a little bit.
Fox News. What's happening
Yeah,
here?
we're trying to loosen up a little bit. We feel like with the format that we went with, it's kind of easy to get caught in like a robotic little like cycle. So we're trying to like loosen it up, and we're talking about how we can like adjust things. So
we have some segments that are more loose. This is supposed to be serious, though. We want to pick your brain. We're not here to, we're trying to pick your brain.
The wizard's sleeve. Seth, give me something, brother.
Before we continue, first off, thank you for that long answer and the kind words. I don't want to make it this big emotional thing, but for what it's worth, I mean, the conversation you had with my dad sort of helped propel this entire thing for me. And you were right. You kind of brought me into the fold, and very young, I had the opportunity to look like behind, I guess, the surface of competitive Call of Duty, and being intertwined with you guys and like sort of seeing myself in you guys is probably the only reason I'm here today. So despite that,
we fuck with you, bro.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna fuck with you.
I fucked up.
Keep your head down and keep working, brother. You're gonna make a lot of money. People love you. It's gonna be great.
I was fucked up.
Wait, can I ask you guys a question now?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, Seth, one, I want to know what it feels like when you play LA Thieves. Is there anything at all? Because I know you got rivalries with these players in some capacity or another. Do you think about me when we are playing? Selfishly, I want to know.
Do I think about you when we played?
Yeah, like when you're watching Optic play LA Thieves, or when you played against LA Thieves, did you ever want it just a little bit more because you knew that they played for our team?
Honestly, if I could say, I would say no. I wouldn't say I wanted it more. Obviously, not because of like you, but I mean, like when we played Dylan, when we played like Sam, for instance, like all my ex-teammates, that always adds a little bit of extra fire to a match. You know, whenever you're playing a teammate that, I mean, Dylan was let go. Obviously, Sam was let go. Like, I know that they're coming in trying to take us out. So that always would add a little bit of extra fire. But like playing against your org, would it make me more fired up? Nah, I wouldn't say that. I mean,
damn, I'm not wrestling your jimmies enough. Then that sucks. Dude.
No, I mean, I got mad love for you, but like playing old teammates would always add a little bit more to a match, you know. And I think against Thieves, I was like 7-7 or something like that. I think we literally split right down the center, so it was always a lot of fun to play Thieves, obviously because we were playing your org. But it was never like me against you. You know what I'm saying? It was like me against the boys that you're putting out there. So.
Do you consider it a rivalry?
Right now, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, they're both, right at this moment, they're the two best teams in the game right now, and I think it's kind of hard to say that it's not a rivalry. They're both gross. Now Draza has beef with Ghosty. I mean, I'm sure you heard what Draws said. Ghosty went into game chat, so yeah.
No, wait, hold on. What did Draws say about Ghosty? I didn't hear this.
So Ghosty went into game chat after the bounty match and said like free cash or some stupid shit. Like he's a rookie, so nobody ever does that. So he actually went into game chat, pushed the talk, said free cash, give me that 10K. And then Draws, after they won, obviously it was for a little bit more money. He said,
"Oh, brother, I'd be leaping across that stage if I were Draws. Are you kidding me?"
He said, "Fuck it, that."
Beat him in finals for the major.
He said, "Fuck it, then. Whose cash is that?"
Don't fuck with Draza, but that kid is electric. It's tough because like the player that everybody hates the most is on my team. So I'm like,
well,
what?
There's Scrap.
Well, no, Scrappy.
People like to hate.
People love fucking Scrappy. People love Scrappy now. Do all players hate Scrappy? That's what I want to know.
No. I don't think any players actually dislike any other players.
Huh?
I don't think actual players dislike other players. Like everybody understands, it's like there's a few, but it's not like it's not like because Scrap talks shit, a bunch of players hate him. It's not like Draws is hated by a bunch of players because he talks shit.
That's fair.
Like there's obviously some personal beef with some people here and there, but I don't understand the flack that some of these players get for talking shit. I guess I do get it.
If it's against Optic, people are obviously going to get mad.
Yeah, but
somebody's got to be the bad guy, dude. There's no other way.
It's so much more exciting to watch.
Losers. Like it's just the way the life is. Balance.
No, I completely agree. I love the shit talk that Draws puts out. I mean, he was like, "Fuck it, then, 50K, fucking slam."
Yeah, fuck it.
You know what I'm saying? Like
he's looking like Chip Skylark out there too. With his shiny
Draws
teeth
is one of those players that like you hate playing against whenever you lose to him, but like you like watching him like talk shit. You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
like it's entertaining.
He's winning championships. So it's one thing if he's placing last and he's saying all this bullshit, but the kid's a world champ and he's young and he comes from Alaska. Like his story is actually really dope. And from what I know from like his teammates is like he's truly just a passionate Call of Duty player. It's the only thing he loves to do and cares about.
Yeah. He's
in every single S&D 8. So like from my perspective as a former player and as someone who's competed against him, like to see that level of passion and drive, if someone wants to talk some shit,
it reminds me of when I was coming up.
Go for it.
It's like that same burning passion that you have. It's like, yeah, you're gonna talk shit. You know, that's just the way of the road.
Part too, right? Because not to cut you guys off, but I just want to speak my piece on this. Look, man, nothing I can say is going to convince somebody to like Draza. People pick out players, whether it's the NBA, the NFL. You can't even explain why you love somebody or hate them. And maybe you can sometimes, but most of the time you're just like, fuck that guy. This guy Draza is like the epitome of a Call of Duty kid. You know, early days, nobody knows each other that well. So none of these pro players really knew Draza. He comes in, is subbed in, and now got benched, yada, 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 yada. Guy starts finally getting a piece of a championship, sniffs what it feels like to win, and that's all this guy wants, right? But he's talking his shit on his way. We were all like that when we were younger.
It's fair.
You got to remember, Draza's still really, really young. One, the CDL needs winners and losers when it comes to personalities, who people love, who people hate. Somebody's got to be the good guy. Somebody's got to be the bad guy. But the time that I get to spend with Draza, I'm telling you, if Draza were on Optic, okay?
People would love him.
I'm going to give the community something to think about. If Draza 100%. Were on Optic and winning the way that he's won and he was talking shit to other players, people would fucking love him. But he's not. And, you know, that's kind of, you know, sometimes you can't pick where you're sitting at the table, but he's doing everything he can to win, and he's trying to take the food off somebody else's plate. And that's what you do as a competitor. So when I see him off the game, it's like Clayster. Clayster teaming with him, playing against him. The guy is just fucking unbearable. But when you actually sit down and get to hang out with Clayster outside of competition, he's the fucking man. He's a great guy, dude. So all is fair in love and war. I get why people don't like him, but if he played for another team in a different situation, was doing what he's doing now, and I don't care what anybody says about the whole Scrappy thing. Scrappy started winning at the right time, was coming up as a rookie that everybody was like, yo, this guy's up next. He's number one. And when he talks shit, I'll tell you what, it's not that it's more like eloquent. You know, like Conor McGregor talks unbelievable shit, but he's really well-spoken and he packs a punch and he's funny. Scrappy and Draza and most Call of Duty players are all talking like elementary school shit and sometimes funny, sometimes not. Whatever.
Yeah.
But he just was riding the right wave at the right time in the right situation. If Draza were doing the same things that he's doing, but he was winning on another team and maybe even Optic, people would fucking love him.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt in that. I mean, fan bases always clash. Draza, you know, he just likes to get after it. And I respect that about him. Matt, we do have to move on. I love you, but
I'm not fucking leaving.
dude, we still have like more than half our show left to do.
We got to do like a special episode.
Yeah.
Because you can fucking talk.
We can speak.
We got to do a special episode where it's just something like this and we're just bullshitting the entire time. Because I'm sure everybody
I think we should be naked and jerking each other off vigorously.
Be very careful talking about genitalia.
Yeah.
Because they won't let you fucking hear the end of it.
You guys got sponsors on this?
No.
Well, we do.
Oh,
but
yeah, we do.
All right, well,
but
let's Groovy and Pack a
That's
Doobie,
not the
baby.
reason.
Come on.
But it's all right.
Code Nate, 10% off. Yeah, I'm going to keep going until they cut me off, dude. High ground keyboard.
Oh, my God.
We're drinking Juvies. Dude, it's electric out here. Don't miss the show. I love you guys. Thank you for having me.
Matt, thank you so much for coming on, brother. We'll talk soon.
That was great.
I can't believe you're cutting me off, dude. This is fun.
Dude, that was great. Dude.
I mean, goodness gracious, that man can speak.
Dude, that was great.
Speak.
And that hit my fucking heartstrings, dude. Why'd you got to ask him that question?
I didn't think he was going to go that crazy on you.
He took it serious.
I know. I thought he was going to like kind of ease up a little bit. He went in a little bit.
He spoke exactly how I wanted him to.
So for the deep dive, we're definitely going to shorten it now. I'm going to kind of pick and choose a couple of these clips that we have because that interview did go a little bit long and for time constraints.
But I guarantee you, it was. You guys loved it, right?
Oh, I'm sure that they loved it. Matt was just spitting just cold, hard facts right there. The boy was just spitting right there. That was our best 1v2 by far. Thank you so much for Matt to come on. The guy is a genius, but he's also very fucking dumb.
Yeah, no, I mean that.
He said we were too serious. We're doing an interview. What do you want from us?
I do agree with him in the sense that I think sometimes our personalities don't shine as bright as they should.
This is a more serious talk show.
No,
you know,
we need to figure out a way to make this a fucking dumber, more serious talk show because
we'll figure things out.
Because we're dumb, and I don't think we're
not projecting it enough.
We're not immersing or projecting the dumbness that we possess.
Sure. Well,
and when I say dumb, I mean like a funny, stupid way, not intellectually. We're fucking bright.
Yeah, we're brilliant. Moving on, we're going to get into the deep dive. We're going to make it a little bit shorter because that ran a little bit long. So I'm going to pick and choose some of these clips that we're going to be watching. First off, we're going to start with a round 11. We said that we were going to watch pretty much all the round 11s that come through from here on out. So we've got the absolute collapse.
Oh, I mean, this is as bad as it gets,
Vegas.
Ladies and gentlemen. If you're Vegas, you are in the race with Rocker to qualify for champs. Florida, unfortunately, don't really have a chance to make champs. So at this point, they're just playing spoiler.
And they played a big-time spoiler. Right here, Vickle, he was just going off this map, finding kills left and right. He gets the cruise missile, forces everyone on Vegas inside. They get all of this information, and look at that. I love it. Right as that cruise missile hits, look at all that smoke. Vegas is tweaking right now. Bombs going down instantly. No time wasted. There's in.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 5-2 lead. I mean, there's nothing. First and foremost, you have to tip the play from Florida to mount that comeback and win 4 rounds straight. But it's more so a blunder from Vegas. I mean, you're up 5-2, especially in a match that is so impactful to the rest of your year. It's a must win, and there's no excuses. And I'm not saying they're making excuses, but it's an unacceptable collapse, an unacceptable throw, and Florida capitalize. And
they get hype out there.
I mean, they're playing for their careers at this point. I mean, they're playing for the longevity. They can't make champs, but all of these guys are trying to prove to everybody what they can do for a pro team.
Yeah. Just a huge match from Florida. Obviously, again, like Zinni said, doesn't really do much besides fuck over Vegas and gets them a win. And Vickle, looks good in that search and destroy. Next up, we've got a little bit of an interesting spawn. Again, we're going to be skipping some clips because of how long the interview ran. I thought this spawn was interesting, Zin. Let me know what you think about it. So we're on P5 Hill. It just pops.
Yeah.
Look at the spawns. They're all normal. Boom. Look at where number 5 spawns.
Yeah, so...
What the fuck is it one? Is it one pre-aiming that?
I think one pre-aiming double arch, and also I think number 3, you have a better view than I do. And see, outside of the freezer doors,
3 is
he's not in freezer.
He's out. He's literally in the doorway, it looks like. He's like in freezer doorway.
That's probably the line. You probably have to be hard blocking kitchen. This
you think that's the line?
It's kind of crazy, and I get it.
I'm going to play the clip out because...
It doesn't look that insane to me. Like, I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it if that makes sense. Like, it shouldn't have happened, but I understand why it did, I think.
I just thought it was interesting. Obviously, we don't really talk about spawns too much, but then another one happens. Look at that one.
Yeah, right
Boom.
Here.
Look at that.
Number 3, I think, is looking like towards the chandelier.
It happens twice on one hill.
But right now, they have no one blocking kitchen.
It's fair, but 2's still backed up. He's like back pool.
Yeah, but I don't think that
6
blocks
gets
it.
that spawn out, 36 seconds, and then 1 spawns behind him. Look at this. It's musical chairs.
Now it's a clusterfuck.
That's what I'm trying to say, Zin.
Jesus.
It's musical fucking chairs here.
I'm trying to act all intellectual, but holy fuck, the spawns suck! Sorry.
But yeah, just an absolute shit show of spawns here. I wanted to point that out because while we were watching, I thought that was just bizarre. What an insane sequence.
Yeah, it's
obviously FaZe ends up leveling out here, and they get broken, but they still hold on to this kitchen rotation for P6. So I just thought that was interesting. I thought those spawns were all over the damn place, and Thieves end up pushing back through, and I think they end up getting that kitchen spawn. So I thought those spawns were just bizarre. So I wanted to watch that. Next, we've got the same map. It's the end of the game. Just an absolute grade A bang out. We've got to watch these, ladies and gentlemen.
Grade A, bang out, Thieves FaZe.
Just a grade A. Map number 1, 2 teams in the winter semifinals going at it. It comes down to the Diner Hill, and it's just pandemonium. You see people dropping left and right. Thieves double break through rugs. Abeezy with a big one, and it's just chaos. Right here, you're not thinking as a player. It's comms are flying. People are diving across your screen.
Snakes are in. I mean, at this point, you're throwing your tacks. The whole lobby is blacked out right now. Just so we're on the same page. Like no one, like it is so fast paced and it's so the adrenaline rush is so severe.
They don't know what's going on.
The entire lobby could have drank a whole bottle of fucking Tito's. I mean, it is.
I mean, not
blacked out.
Not to that extent. I think that they're a little bit more well-minded than if they drank a whole bottle of Tito's in. But you see, FaZe break back in here, and Thieves. Last-ditch effort here. This is whenever things are just getting hectic. I mean, Abeezy goes big. FaZe close out the map.
FaZe catch up on the fights. Diner,
but they don't win the series. They lose 3 straight after that. I just thought that was a grade A bang out. Just back and forth trades.
It's weird because you would have thought that Thieves would win map 1 hardpoint and then FaZe would win map 2 search. Like, I think we're getting to the point where
teams can beat anybody in anything.
I just think when you're so dominant in a game mode for so long, eventually teams are going to catch up. Like, they have so much VOD. So you're forced to start switching things up, and that's not necessarily your bread and butter anymore.
Yeah.
And if you do your normal stuff, it's going to get red. Like, if you're so dominant and you're undefeated in search maps and you're like, what is it, 24-6 or... Their S&D records are something insane.
They're very good at search and destroys.
That means the entire league is watching their search as an example of how to play.
It's only a matter of time till people start reading you and catching up. I think we saw it a little bit with Optic this weekend. Thieves started to read them a little bit in the search and destroys. We talked about it frequently on the watch party.
Yep, the Fortress.
And not even just the Fortress, the Asilo as well. They were just playing into... Ant was playing into them. They were just waiting for Ant to make a play, and boom, they were getting picks.
Yeah.
So, we're going to start seeing teams. We're getting to the end of the year. People are going to start taking it more serious, and, you're going to have to start switching shit up or people are just going to counter you. Next up, I just wanted to highlight this from Optic Thieves. Just a beautiful offense out of Optic right here. They end up capping B. Or I think this is a beautiful offense if my notes are correct here. They end up capping B. They got 1 tick on A. We talk about how fragile control is. And 1 or 2 people drop. 2-piece, 3-piece. Look how fast it goes.
Yeah, I mean, all of Thieves just drop. And
30 seconds left in the round. Optic needs 1 break. You get 1 2-piece. Boom. It unfolds. And this is just going to be the round. They don't even have really a chance to get back in here.
Yeah, I mean, once you get down to like 30 seconds, it's kind of like a game of search where like next wave kind of wins.
Oh, wait, no. Is this where Kenny goes big, actually? Are my notes deceiving me?
No, Optic win this.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say. But boom, trades are in.
Wait, am I on Mars? No, Optic win this. Yeah,
Optic Texas win. Yeah, I was going to say.
I mean, that just comes down to Optic clutching up and getting the kills. Like, it's not like a super...
But you see how that initial break just makes it so damn chaotic, and it allows Optic to just keep coming off spawn, get the job done. On Himmelmatt, we say defense is pretty much favored because of how much we see teams win. We see how many teams win defense because of A, and boom, Optic makes a big-time play in the Himmelmatt control, and they end up taking that round. I just wanted to point that out. Next up, let's go to one that's a little bit more interesting, one that people might... People might cringe watching this one just a little bit. We got to bring it up. It was one of the most crazy plays of the weekend. It's the MAC 1v1, and this is basically a Seattle tournament ender.
I mean, yeah.
This is to go up 5-2 in the search and destroy.
Yeah.
2v3 scenario. We're going to fast forward a little bit here. Evens out to a 2v2. Rocker, go get bombed down. Pred goes 1-for-1, and then boom, Zin. Walk me through what's happening here.
I mean, Mac is getting call-outs. So rewind it just like a couple taps, right? So at what time does I like this play. I like this play by Pred. Yeah. Pred instantly gets in there and kills the guy off bomb. He's job done right here. Okay. So now Afro has 10. How much time when he hops the bomb?
He has about. Hold on. Let's
8 seconds.
Let's get it right to the millisecond. Let me take a look here.
Just pause as soon as he starts planning. Bang.
Bang. So he's planning at 8.2 seconds.
Okay, so now Mac is trying to make sure he catches him on the bomb.
Yes.
Like he wants to kill him without any fight.
And he doesn't have dead silence.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to get caught. That's important.
He's tweaking right now. He's like, I don't have Daddy. If I start sprinting right here, he hears me.
He's shooting at the dead body. So right there was kind of unfortunate because he's shooting at what he sees on his screen. That kind of reveals his position. It looks way worse than it actually was.
It does.
It wasn't. The only really bad part was him not throwing the grenade.
He's got a Semtex.
This is where it's so much easier in hindsight, and this guy's in a 1v1 on the main stage.
Yeah.
So it is so much easier from our perspective to shit on him and everybody else to be like,
Pred's losing fucking
choke. Right there, he should nade one side of the bomb, and at that point, the guy is forced to run into the grenade or run to the opposite side.
Or just eat it.
Correct.
Or he just has to eat it. And
you have to throw the nade there. That being said, it's competition. It is so much more intense than anybody watching at home, unless you've been in a scenario that understands. So I felt terrible. I mean, that series, I literally had my hand in, or my head in my hands.
Heartbreaker.
Because that was heartbreaking for Seattle. Because those guys are a threat.
We had Seattle going deep in the tournament, and a play like that to kind of end your tournament and take the wind out of your sails is just tough. I mean, it's tough on Mac. It's a hard that's a hard scenario to be in as a player.
Yep.
No dead silence. You know he's soundhorning you. I just think it's hard. Next up, I just wanted to highlight a couple clips from the final map of the tournament. El Asilo. You guys might not want to watch this one because obviously Optic ends up losing it. Sorry about that.
Look at all those tabs, man.
Yeah, we got a lot of tabs here. We're not going to go through all of them, obviously, because the interview ran a little bit long. But I just wanted to highlight this play. I wanted to highlight this play from Draws right here. He goes all the way around town, sneaks through, and look at this. This was a very scary, scary moment for Optic.
Pause this right now.
This was horrifying for Optic. I have
never seen this play made in a pro match.
I thought this was the end of their tournament right here.
I have never. The only similar play I've seen on this map is when on the offense, when you're trying to capture B, you go around the back hill and pinch that back hill street. I have never once.
He went all the way the fuck around.
I have never seen a player make this play, and it was an incredible play. He's
a good play.
He's calming to his team. They're literally forced to come through mid.
They're spawning. Look where 6 just spawned. If any of us die right here, we lose the map.
Correct.
Literally, this is, I believe, whenever Dan ends up getting a huge one that I say was just massive.
Yep.
It might be, it might not be, but yeah, you look at these kills going down. Yep, this is right here. This is where I said if Dan does not get a kill right here, we lose. If Dan gets killed right here, we lose.
Yeah.
And Dan ends up getting a big kill, but just a good play by Draws. They spawn him out deep. I wanted to highlight it. Dan gets a big kill, stays alive, allows the reinforcements to come in. Draws gets taken out. The trades are in. Extends us into a round number 5 because of that play. We end up clutching up this. But just a really good, well thought out play from Draws that I wanted to point out.
It's a play that I haven't seen made before. That's what's so cool about it. I have never seen a player push there on that side. It's always around to capture B, never to capture A. That was dope to see.
Yeah. not want to watch. It's the final sequence here of the tournament where Thieves end up closing it out. And I wanted to get your opinion on this. Do you think that Kyler stays a little bit too long, or do you think that his play is good? I think that he kind of gets fucked over because everybody else dies on him. Kenny gets a kill.
I can't see it right now.
Oh, Kenny gets a kill. Wait, Riley, we're on the...
There we go.
Okay. But what do you think about this sequence here?
Okay, so start it from when they go 4 down beginning. Is that where you started it?
No, this is like the beginning of it.
Okay, this
so
is the beginning.
Kenny streaks, Envoy gets one, bottom AC.
Number 8, Kyler pushed out White, right? He's blocking
which is a great
spawn.
play. He needs to block the spawn.
So all of Optic die here.
Which puts Kyler in such a rough spot.
And these guys know Kyler's missing. So they're calming, like they're looking for him.
And honestly, we get kind of blessed here that we double spawn back B. We should not have double spawned back B right there. And whoever just spawned here should have spawned out.
Yeah. Also, I'm assuming Kyler has an SMG here like usual. Everyone's like, oh, what's he looking at? There's no one in their spawn.
Yeah.
He has an SMG. He's kind of just playing his life, waiting for his teammates to either die or get killed to give him info. What he was doing there, in my opinion, was he was banking on his teammates to get at least one or two kills.
And they don't get
he was going to pinch. Instead, they get wiped twice, and it makes his play look terrible.
But if they get one kill, he pinches that, he could save the round for them and at least give them a little, maybe one extra push on the round. But since everyone dies around him, it just makes his play look like kind of slow. Maybe granted it was a little bit slow, but I know his thought process there. He's waiting. Good gamble. He's waiting for somebody to get at least one. And most of the time, they're going to get at least one for him. Correct. So all of Thieves don't just instantly turn around and expect him behind him. So I wanted to point that out. It was an interesting sequence there at the end of the game.
He trusted his teammates like he should.
Yeah.
And most of the time it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, it's very easy in hindsight to be like, oh, this player fucked up. But when in reality, the actual thought process behind what he was doing makes sense to the players. Like it's like
it makes a whole lot of sense. Maybe granted it was just a little bit slow, but I know his mindset right there, what he was trying to do.
Yep.
Next up, this will be our last one. Just one more clip here. Optic, they're obviously an incredible Al-Bagra Fortress team. I want to just talk about how clean this P1 flip is off the map. Look at this. Look at this. They all spawn P5. No hesitation. All hit through stage. They get the P2 stage spawn, and then now it just comes down to kills.
Yep.
And they're going to end up making these kills. Boom. 1, 6 kills 3. He kills 1 out of hill as well, and boom, map flipped. I just wanted to give some props to Optic there for how clean that was.
Because very few teams can do that, like with that type of like dominance. By the way, like that is, especially versus Thieves, it's
hard to do.
Like usually you get put in the demon trap there, so that's a great sequence from them.
And I don't really think I have any other clips that we need to go through. I think those were pretty much the meatiest ones. The rest were kind of just talking about like hard point setups and stuff like that. And
I'm actually glad that you don't, because this next segment is something I really want to talk about. And our next segment is Thin Ice. So, who's on Thin Ice, Abner?
I think a lot of people are going to know who's on it this week, Jen. It is the Las Vegas Legion. No! They went 4-1 in online. They look so damn good. And they look like they were finally hitting a stride to be able to make that champs push. To fall short at the major, it's heartbreaking because I really want to see this team succeed. I can't lie.
I said it earlier on in the show. I mean, it was an unacceptable showing from them given how they went 4-1 in the online qualifying stage. They looked like a really strong team with the addition of Standy. And the New York series, it's like, okay, they got slammed 3-0. I don't think they should have gotten slammed that hard based on their current form that we saw going into the major, but the Florida loss was unacceptable. I mean, to be up 5-2 last map, there's no excuses for it. You are on paper the better team. Florida is by no means incapable of winning, but given that essentially your entire year is on the line, or the biggest tournament that every single player wants to go to is on the line, it was one of the biggest blunders we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I don't think people have really been talking about how just important that was for them. I mean, I'm sure they're going back to the drawing board.
And no one played well, by the way. Just looking at the stats, a 0.9 from TJ. He had the highest KD at the major for Vegas with a 0.9.
Yeah.
Standy with a 0.84, 0.81 for Temp, 0.73 for Clay. I mean, I think the whole team has looked collectively better before Major 4.
Better.
But I mean,
way better.
I don't even know what to say about this team now because we're past the point of making changes. And the scariest part is,
I think this team is good, though. I just think they came out at the major and they just shot themselves in the foot. They lose 3-0 to New York.
Yeah.
Bad series out of them. We saw Donnie have a stinker. It happens. But to lose that Florida match, man, it's
tough.
Just absolutely heartbreaking.
I wouldn't be so worried or I guess hopeless for Vegas unless their next stage is just nearly impossible. Based on the strength of schedule, they have the hardest split in the entire league for stage 5.
Yeah.
It's Vegas. They have the hardest schedule.
They play Optic, they play FaZe.
Yeah, it's not Do
you want to pull that up really quickly?
I
mean, they have such a hard schedule, and by no means I think that they can still do it. I think that there's still a sliver of hope, but they're going to need to come out the first weekend, and they're going to need to get at least one win. You can't allow Minnesota to keep extending that lead. You know what I'm saying?
It's going to come down to the major, I think. So Vegas plays Optic Texas, NYSL, who they just got 3-0 body slam by, Atlanta, FaZe, Minnesota Rocker,
which I cannot wait to watch that match with you guys. But the Minnesota Rocker match versus Vegas is going to be,
but also Seattle Surge. So if I'm speaking strictly objectively, and TJ is one of my best friends, and I want to see Vegas make it personally.
You don't think they're?
I think they're going 1-4 at the very best.
And you think they're going to have to make a Cinderella run at the
correct.
major?
I think they lose to FaZe, they lose to Optic, they lose to Seattle, NYSL and Rocker. They just got 3-0 slammed by NYSL. Depending on which form NYSL is in, sometimes they look like the best team, sometimes they look like fucking shit. So if it's the good NYSL, I have NYSL winning that. And then Rocker Legion, I mean, based on this most recent tournament, Rocker looked better.
Rocker did.
So
look
it could
better.
be an 0-5 from Legion. I don't see them beating Optic, FaZe, or Seattle personally.
It's definitely
at least Optic, FaZe 100%.
It's definitely heartbreaking just because of what's in front of them now. They probably knew in the back of their minds. They looked at their schedule, by the way. They knew that this last split was their hardest split. They knew that going into the major. So I don't know. It's going to be a tough bounce back, but I want to highlight something that is just kind of surprising to me. Actually, hold on. My screen just went absolutely rogue on me. 1 second.
It's all right, man.
Yeah,
while you figure that out, I want to talk about Rocker too. The reason I'm so hopeless, I think, for Vegas is because of Rocker's schedule. So they're like middle of the pack. They have on this sheet the 5th easiest schedule in the league. So they play London, which I'm taking Rocker against them.
Correct.
Boston, which
toss up.
Boston should. They obviously make a roster change. Boston should take that one if they play to Boston's true potential. But with all these changes, I'm up in the air about that one. I do favor Boston for that one. Vegas versus Rocker. Right now, I'm taking Rocker. Thieves beat Rocker. Ultra, I think, have it versus Rocker. So I think I see a guaranteed win for Rocker versus London, in my opinion.
So you're saying that so the way you're saying it, if everything goes the way you're saying it, Vegas are going to need like a minimum top 4 at the major. Minimum to make it.
Most likely, yes.
Or top 3. And it's either top 4 or top 3.
They're rooting for Rocker to fail. Like at this point.
Yeah.
So at this point,
they
Vegas
got foam fingers on.
Vegas has
saying,
to play.
Fuck Rocker.
Yeah, Vegas has to play perfect while also praying that Rocker fucking bottle it.
Yes. And I want to just point something out.
I'm scared for him.
Statistically, Vegas, we've always harped on how good their search and destroy is. They look like probably the second best overall search and destroy team in the league behind none other than FaZe. I'm not going to say specific KDs, but 0.62, 0.71, 0.67, and 0.91 in the game mode.
Yeah.
Just a flat weekend for them in search and destroy. They end up going 1 and 2 in the mode. It's just not going to get it done, you know. And for them, that's obviously was one of their bread and butters. They need to fix control. They can't keep relying on Himmelmatt because teams are never going to allow Himmelmatt through at this point. They're just going to keep vetoing it and taking their chances on one of the other 2 modes because Vegas struggles in control already. They're going to have to get good at some maps. They're going to have to get their S&D back on track, and they're going to have to do it fast if they want to make champs.
Because I'm rooting for them. I promise.
I'm rooting for them.
I want Vegas at champs. I mean, who does not want to see Clay play at champs?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to see the Cinderella run happen? It's just I think Major 4 might have been too big of a blunder to come back from based on the next stage's split.
And that's why
stage's schedule.
Vegas was our team on thin ice. Vegas, we're expecting something big from you this next split. You got to come. You got to put it where your mouth is because it's coming. It's coming. And it's coming fast. Yeah. Only 1 week until these next matches start up. Time to do it.
It's time to do it. That was thin ice. Yeah, you had a way with words there. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for my favorite segment of the show.
Don't
and
look
I
at my
think
screen.
it might be some of your favorites. It's time for Rapid Fire, the game show within the game show.
Shit.
You guys know the drill, man. Rapid Fire. We each have 10 questions to ask our opponent. You're rocking that BDA shirt under that suit jacket, aren't you? Sure. Better days ahead.
Indeed, I am, Zen.
But not for you, because I'm about to tap that ass in Rapid Fire.
Just like I tap that ass in the 1v1, just like I tap that ass in the FFA, just like I tap that ass.
I didn't have aim assist on, actually. Someone turned it off for me in the free-for-all. Not in the 1v1. The 1v1, you got the better of me.
Yeah,
you had a better setup, because they fucking rigged things.
Do you want me to ask first, or would you like to ask first, Zen?
I won the last one, right? Or did we tie? We're tied right now. Wait.
We're tied. This is big time. You lost the Call of Duty 1v1.
Wait, this is for the win. This is the final rapid fire of the stage. This is for the fucking win. What do you want? I'll let you pick. I'll ask you first. Unless you want to ask me first. I'll let you. Whatever you want to do.
You ask me first.
Okay. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, go. When I say go, that timer's going to start, and I'm going to start firing them off. This first one's a fucking freebie. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Which Incredibles character has a look-alike in the CDL?
Syndrome.
Yes. And which Netflix series does the president play Call of Duty?
Pass.
Okay. Who won the first game of Warzone 2 at COD Next?
Was it a solo?
I don't know.
Biffle.
No. What was the name of the EU team featured on last episode's Up Next?
Wait, say that again? Quickly.
What was the name of the EU team featured on last episode's Up Next?
Unnamed.
No. What do
you mean? That's who won the tournament. Unnamed.
You may be right. I don't know. It's not showing. What is Allie's real name? You're not getting this.
I don't know.
What are the two? What are the two opposing factions you spawn in for/against at MW2, the current game?
Two. Spetsnaz.
No.
Seals.
Who holds the number 2 all-time record for KD ratio in a series?
Sam.
Me. What year did MW3 release?
2012.
You're done. You got.
I got 2.
You got one right.
I got 2.
If the
it
answer
was unnamed. Unnamed was who won the last.
It says 114 here.
Oh, it should say unnamed.
Unnamed.
Okay, so you got 2 right.
I got 2 right.
Oh man. I mean, that might be enough. I'm terrible at this.
Dude, what are these questions, bro? Woo!
Oh, hold on, I got to flap real quick.
Yeah, you got to flap.
Come on. Feed me.
All right, here we go. Are you ready?
So say 3, 2, 1, go, and then start asking me as
So
soon
you
as
need
the
to
clock
get 3
starts.
to beat me. 3 to win.
2 to tie, yes.
What was the name of Dr. Disrespect? All right. Hold on. Let me restart that. 3,
Okay.
2, 1, go. What was the name of Dr. Disrespect's Mountain Dew game fuel flavor?
Pass.
How many senators make up the U.S. Senate? Oh, this is bad if you don't know it.
50.
No. Which current player holds the all-time record for most kills in a series?
You.
No. Oh! Which was the only Vanguard hardpoint map to frequently finish by time instead of points?
Bocage.
What the fuck? What was the name of the NA team featured on last episode's Up Next?
The last episode. Wait. Who won an NA?
Psych out, psych out. You can't think. You can't think.
I don't know.
You stink.
I don't know.
Which CDL pro is notoriously not having his face cam on?
TJ.
How many kills did Celium drop in his flawless search against Legion at Major 4 last year?
14.
No.
Hurry up.
What is the name of the BO3 specialist that use active camo and Ripper?
I don't know. Did we tie?
Spectre!
We tied?
Huh?
We tied?
That's a tie.
Wait, what is the Senate question?
Huh?
What is the Senate question? Senators?
100. 2 for each state.
Oh, I fucked that one up.
Yeah, that is bad. I mean, you got freebies in yours.
Dude, I slept in every single history class ever.
You didn't know the name of the NA team featured on Last
Who was
Up?
it? Who was it?
Millennium 7.
No, I didn't.
I'm not talking Millennium Falcon.
No. Wait, you would have guessed that if I asked you that? There's no way.
Yes, 100%.
Because I was thinking...
I got the EU one. You think I don't know NA?
I was thinking LAG Academy because Neptune and Spart,
Yeah,
but I
you
knew
were
it wasn't
thinking wrong.
that. So we're tied. Now what?
Now what? I mean, Riley, do you want to give us a brain box question from the...
Do you have any that you didn't get to ask?
Yeah, but they're freebies.
Do we have...
You could run through those. That's the only thing I can think of.
No, we'll have to just call it a tie, man.
It's called a tie? No, we got to figure this out. Damn it! I fucking bottled that.
We're gonna have to figure out like a tiebreaker round.
How many kills did Sayyum have?
14 or 12. Sorry,
I was gonna say 12.
You said 14.
I know. I was gonna say 12. Damn.
Well, we tied.
But
all good, man.
Damn.
It's all right.
I bottled that.
It's a good,
And they're gonna fucking clickbait me on Twitter and laugh at me for not knowing U.S. history. Like I give a fuck.
That's insane. That is insane. All right, rapid fire was a tie.
Oh man.
Moving on into our next segment of the day, which is prize picks.
Oh my God. I'm still really upset over that one because the Senator, I said fit. Oh, I know that. Like, I know that. But I don't know that, actually. Like, I know that, but I don't, if that makes sense.
It's okay.
It's something I know that I don't know.
It's okay. Well,
and you know
unfortunately,
what I mean. You get it.
Unfortunately for this week's prize pick segment, you can't do prize picks in Ohio, so we're just going to walk through some of our old ones and give you both of our balances.
So, yeah, just so you guys know, prize picks, you guys know we compete weekly on the CDL matches. Whoever has the higher balance at the end of the season gets to donate $10,000 to a charity of our choice. I'm donating, if I win, to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. You're doing Gamers Outreach, I believe?
Gamers Outreach, yep.
Gamers Outreach. So,
helping kids
no matter what,
in hospitals, allow them to game.
There's no actual loser here, but I just don't want to lose to you because I've lost to you quite a bit, especially in my last.
Well, let's just give each other our balances. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to kind of go through and look at what we've already looked through. So what's your balance right now?
I'm at 485.
You're at 485. I'm at 570.
Yeah, so right now you got me beat, but
so I've got you beat right now. We still have one split here.
Yeah.
And it's going to get really, really scary for you real soon here.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, we can run through some of the old picks real quick, just to show what players that we think really got it in their locker, or maybe they don't. To be fair, it's more of how I'm feeling on that day. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because even, like, for example, Asim comes out one day and dropped
the
kill record.
Almost the kill record.
Or almost the kill record.
And I took him for less.
And especially because London was playing so poorly, I just thought they'd be spawn trapped the entire game. So you actually have to think of it in a different way. You can't just think, oh, this player's really good, this player's really bad. It's all about matchups and who's been hot recently and the map set. So yeah, right now you got me beat, but I'm confident that come the end of this, I'm going to take you out.
Okay, Riley, we can walk through a couple of these really quickly if you want to show my screen. What'd you say?
F11.
Oh, F11? Yeah, sure. You can go through them pretty quickly here. I mean, these are from last week, but Bance with less, he got one kill more. Kenny with more, he got 38.
We are cursed. It's always one kill. Like, it's consistently
and Kenny
one
went
kill
crazy this weekend.
Yeah.
Next up, I had Accuracy and Joe Deceives. More. Both hit. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Next up, Nasty more, 21.5. Kismet more than 22.5. Kismet let me down a little bit of that on that one. I was
it's
one
all
off.
Right. That guy's a dog.
Yeah, I was one off. And then last one here, we got a BZ Bance more than 23.5, more than 20.5.
That was a good one.
Both of my boys hit.
Yeah, listen.
I'm coming to find that if you go more on both, that is like kind of the strat, in my opinion. I think that ends
I
up
will
working
keep
out
my
better.
strategy to myself because we are still competing. But you can use code METHODS or code SCUMP for up to a $100 deposit match on your first deposit on Prize Picks. So,
Absolutely.
Once
Thank you
again,
to Prize Picks.
Yeah, thank you. We're competing weekly, and so far he's in the lead. But what's most important is that there's no actual loser. I mean, I can't wait to see who takes it and gets to donate to the charity.
Absolutely.
I'll take it.
You could do multiple things, NFL, NBA, COD, CSGO. Super easy to make and very quick to make your picks. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on. We've got the top 10 plays of the weekend, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got some bangers for y'all today.
Yep.
I mean, it's major time. We had a lot of S&D clutches, and that's kind of what we're going to see in the top 10 pretty much throughout the whole time. So many top just clutches. Usually in top 10s, we see like 9 streaks, whatever. But at the major, people were putting on their clutch pants.
It was clutch 1v2s, 1v3s, 1v4s. I mean, I think this entire stream right now knows who number one is and what play we're going to see at number one.
People are
we're
saying
still
it's
going to watch them all.
People are saying it's one of the best search and destroy plays that they've ever seen.
Yeah, but we're still going to watch them all.
Correct. Here we go. Starting off, we've got Yuli with a little stick. And the clutch up as well. Obviously, Ravens end up falling, but a nice play nonetheless from Yuli. Methods.
Here's Big Joe. This is just a dirty piece. I mean, he finds 2 versus Optic to break, and then he finds, he starts off with 2, hits great shots. Awakening is obviously one of the more talented players in the league. This is where Kyler, it's not only just a great play mechanically, but more so just his presence in playing his life. Like, just watch this sequence right here. He gets 2. He's camping tools.
He actually makes a very intelligent play here.
So his teammates drop around him, but he's still alive in tools. FaZe are calling out, we need to find Hook. Hook's alive somewhere in our base.
They're tweaking. Look at number 5. Slasher's just staring at this tools door, hoping that Kyler makes a mistake, but he's just not going to do it.
Corner.
Look at that. Buys time. Teammates get some map
Shuts
position.
that door.
Slasher goes down, and now look at this. Bada bing, bada boom. Boys are in a good spot to end this round, and he just keeps on going.
And then he's in their base. Next thing you know, he's spawn killing, and
bang!
His presence right there when his teammates were dying were the reason that they're able to win this offense.
Absolutely. Big plays by Kyler. That's a wook in the chat. Guy's been playing absolutely phenomenal, and he's finding himself in the top 10. Next up, this was a blunder. This was the blunder.
Yeah,
I remember this. Fellow throws the grenade.
Yeah, this is the bad news bears. Donnie gets a 1v3. It's still a 1v3, but I mean, he does get lucky with the teammate there, and it did kind of just call right to him, but nonetheless, it's still a 1v3. My boy Don clutches up big, and
this was a beautiful play by Draws. Draza has a couple big-time clutches this weekend, and I feel like he's been pretty clutch and search and destroy for a while now. Whenever you need a big round out of him, he always pulls something off. And yeah, just a beautiful 1v3, plays the clock perfectly there, ends up clutching up.
Yeah, great play. Draza. And this was Hydra's clutch. I mean, how many clutches did we see from right here?
So many this week.
I feel like every single clutch we saw was from right here.
Yeah, so many.
What the fuck's going on, luggage?
A whole lot of bad news for
Chris Lair
for the defensive side.
And Hydra doesn't get the final kill, but still pulls off the 1v3 against a very strong search team in FaZe. Hydra, obviously one of the stronger SMGs in the league, has been lights out since joining the French Phenom.
Clutch after clutch. And
Collateral!
You don't see it often. Bang! Sorry.
I mean, that's top 5 because how often do we get to see a collateral?
Not often, Zin. This one, Draza, again, he's finding himself in the top 10, just absolutely leaks on the players of FaZe. Wow.
Yeah, that's an impressive one, man. I mean, and that gets the blood pumping.
Oh, yeah.
That's
number 2.
That's impressive. I mean, number 2 and number 1.
No surprises here, Zin.
Yeah, Beezy. So this is his first clutch. And we're like, okay, that's pretty fucking filthy and clutch because they're down 1-0. This is the map where Beezy takes over by himself, and 1v3's here. And we're like, okay, FaZe are in this now because of Beezy 1v3s.
Yes.
And we thought he was done.
That was just nuts.
It was filthy,
Priest starts running.
We thought he was done.
Oh, he's not done yet.
And Zin. A 1v3 is hard to beat, but what beats a 1v3?
A 1v4.
Correct.
So here, it's a technical 1v4. Priest ends up dropping his last teammate. He gets the trade on Kiz, and then boom.
I mean, Priest with an
Do you think this is one of the best search and destroy plays of all time?
I mean, yeah, especially in the CDL era. I mean, dude, just to clutch a 1v4 in the fashion he just did when he's pretty much triangulated is insane. I mean, how can you not talk about that play as one of the best ever? Is it the best ever CDL play or Call of Duty competitive play? I'm not sure how you just pick one. We've had so many games and so many players and so many crazy moments that, like, I'm not sure if you can actually rank them. I think you can rank them based on the game, but not by, like, Call of Duty's competitive, life cycle or Call of Duty's competitive history.
Yeah.
But an insane play from Abizi.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was our second to last segment. We've got one more, the one where we center on you guys. We've got Call of the Community coming up next. Ladies and gentlemen, how are we feeling in the chat room?
Why don't you pick from the Twitter today, and I'll pick from the Twitch chat.
The Twitter?
Yeah, so we tweeted earlier for some questions. So just pick some questions from the Twitter. Guys, welcome to Call of Duty, Call of Community. Love to see you guys in the chat. Hope you guys have enjoyed the show so far, and now we'd like to answer some of your questions. So I'll be looking at the Twitch chat. Please ask away any questions you have revolving the major roster changes, anything Call of Duty or esports or anything that you think that we'd answer, please let us know. And he'll look out at our Twitter, Breakdown Pod. That's Breakdown POD on Twitter, where you can also submit questions there.
Absolutely, Zin. Go ahead. You can pick your first. Let me scroll some of these here for a second.
Sure. Okay. Why Nero? Let's talk about the Boston roster change.
Okay.
So here is my opinion on the Boston roster change. Vivid needs to be in the roster. Vivid's intangibles, obviously. For those who don't know, most of you probably know, I'm a former Boston Breach player, as in literally a couple months ago. So I have actual like hands-on knowledge of the entire team and the way the team works for the most part. The only player I haven't played with on that team is Beans, and obviously now Crimp. But Vivid's intangibles, when you take him out of that roster, you lose
pace.
You lose pace, but not just pace. You lose calculated pace. You lose a player who
he's not just going out there headless chicken.
Correct.
Sprinting around, he's calculated with it.
Correct. He knows what he's doing. He's making plays that set up his team for success while also playing at an insane pace. So Kremp comes in for Vivid. Kremp mechanically and in the slang category is lights out. Very good player. But is he as fast as Reese? I'm not statistically, I don't really know. But I do know that there's no way he's bringing the knowledge and communication.
Teej is in here. He said calculated pace. Sorry, go ahead.
And he said, let me write that down. You fucking need to, dude. What are you guys doing? Yeah. Anyways, I think Vivid needs to be on that roster. I think they had two choices. They had to replace Nero with Vivid like they did, or their other option was replace Vivid for Beans.
I just don't think that makes sense.
You make Awakening the main AR, and you make Nero a flex.
I think Beans has been great.
It's not about Beans. Beans is a good player. It's not at all about Beans.
It's something deeper within the roster.
It's all pacing. You can't replace Kremp based on what we saw, so you keep Kremp in.
Keep him in.
Vivid comes in. He brings pace. He's a good player, and he brings leadership. Mm-hmm. Awakening, I think, works as a main AR. Like he can. Like Awakening can flex, can also play main.
Yeah,
Beans.
I think any flex could play main. They just have to.
If I'm replacing either Beans or Wake, I'm replacing Ben. Beans has been great, but I also know Nero as a flex can be insane because I know how mechanically good he is, and I think Nero's biggest or a downfall is not the calculated pace. Like I feel like sometimes he's too pacey and he just goes.
He gets lost in the sauce.
He's very momentum based and he's very streaky, and when he starts hot, he finishes hot and he's going crazy. When he starts slow, he can kind of snowball. I think if you put an AR in Nero's hands and slow him down a bit, I think it'd really complement him as a player. But either way, I don't hate the change. Emotionally, I hate to see my former team like making changes just because it kind of sucks seeing like the players I was playing with.
Of course, that's why I'm kind of letting you take the forefront on this question because you
roster.
were within the camp.
Yeah, but I think it had to be Vivid for Nero, or you try changing like the fundamental roles in the team and you try Nero as flex.
Sure.
But let me just state, I love Beans, and I'm speaking objectively and not at all, like, I'm just saying that those, in my opinion, were the only two options because playing with Joe for as long as I did, Joe is irreplaceable. Joe needs to be on that roster.
Yeah.
So the only player you can replace in the AR role, that's why I said Ben.
Sure. Thank you for the insight there, Zin.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it at that because I think you said it pretty well. Next up, Zach asks, what do you think Optic needs to do to put them over the edge in terms of closing out a grand final? I mean, it's simple. They got to get better at control.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Their hard point, best in the league. Well, we can't really say that now because Thieves kind of took it to them in hard points this weekend, but they just got to get better at control. I mean, it's as simple as that. I think their search and destroy is definitely championship contender.
Yeah.
I think their hard point is above championship contender. I think the only thing that makes sense for them is to get better in control, and I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I can't answer that any better. When it comes to hard point, I mean, teams like Thieves and Optic will always go toe-to-toe, and you can say Optic had the edge, but I mean, like, both teams playing at their peak, anybody can win. It's just who's slaying and who's clutching up and getting the timings. So I agree with you. Control.
You got a question, or you want me to pull another one? I got another good one here.
How do you feel about London? They obviously can't make champs. Scraps sent some tweets out about the inner workings of that camp. I think if you're London, if you're London, you want at least some UK players playing on your team.
Yeah.
So I think right now is when you're looking at some of the challengers players like Abuza. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Abuza. I've heard both.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're looking at top up-and-coming UK players, and you're starting to work on that visa process early because I've said it a lot, like European challengers players just get kind of fucked by the whole visa situation because there's that added layer where like you have to go through the government and get a visa. So I think London should be starting that process early and trying to secure visas. That way, if they start too late, it's going to be the same cycle over and over. Oh, the visa problem. That's why with no champs hope, you start it now.
Absolutely. I got another juicy one here for us. what makes LAT such a tough matchup for Optic? Their comms, ability to read Shotzzy's routes, pinches, teamwork, etc. I just think Thieves are a good fucking team, man. And it's like, I think Thieves, they just did their homework this weekend on Optic. It seemed like Optic was kind of playing into their hand, and I feel like Thieves is a better control team than Optic right now. So in a best-of-7 series, it's tough for Optic to beat a team like Thieves because you have to be perfect in the hard points. Like, if you drop a hard point against Thieves, it gets scary.
Dude.
If you're Optic in a best-of-7.
Okay, I agree with everything you're saying. I just think the community overthinks a matchup like this and just wants something to talk about. Like, I don't think Optic needs to get better at control. But once again, I think Optic versus Thieves, they face off 10 times, they go 5 for 5. It's not like a clear cut, this player needs to do this. Like, it's like 2 top teams facing off in Call of Duty and 1-1 this weekend. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, everyone is like, this player needs to do this better, this player needs to do this better. Like, the game is not the most consistent game to begin with. The skill gap is already low.
Correct.
So for 2 teams to master it, despite the low skill gap, and compete at the high level consistently, it's blow for blow, pound for pound. It's not Optic needs... I
think Optic needs to get better at control. Just flat out. I think Thieves are a better control team right now. They can take hard points off Optic, and they can clearly take searches off Optic. It looked like they did their research. Optic needs to get better at control for that best-of-7 series. There's 2 controls in it. Whether you like the format or whether you don't like it, it's 2 hard points, 2 controls, 3 searches. Obviously, Thieves had their number in hard points this weekend. They had their numbers in control, had their number in controls, and then search and destroys kind of went back and forth. So,
yeah,
just got to get better at control.
I
think that's what it is. I think Thieves and Optic hard point right there with each other. S&D, I don't even know who would you give the S&D like advantage to when you're looking at those 2 teams.
Optic Thieves?
Yeah, it's close as hell.
Oh, man, it's tough.
And then control, you give the clear advantage to Thieves.
Yeah, the only clear advantage I think in the series is Thieves control. When it comes to hardpoint, I had Optic as the best hardpoint team in the game.
Yes.
Now I think Thieves can obviously go toe-to-toe with them. Granted, the maps are close. Like, they played Hydro, and it was a
6-point difference.
6-point game. And
the second one wasn't as close, though. The second one was like a 70-point difference. So, I mean, Thieves beat them twice on the map. I think Optic also need to get better at Embassy hardpoint.
Yeah, correct.
I think Embassy hardpoint, even when I was on the team, was something that the team struggled with, and I think having that map in the map pool would help out a lot. So, I think improving on control and getting better at Embassy hardpoint would do huge for them, because it looks like their S&D map pool is vast. Like, they can play pretty much every single search and destroy. Do they not play a single search and destroy? I think they play all 5 of them right now. So it's like they'll play all 5 depending on who they're playing.
Yeah.
But having an auto veto and hardpoint, which it looks like Embassy right now, it's just having an auto veto is always hard.
This question's from Jumper. As previous pros, do you think scrimming a 3rd set is overkill? Do you think teams should rethink the scrimming process? Yes.
Wait, say that again?
Do you think a 3rd set is like S&D is overkill? My answer is yes. I think unless it's like super calculated, like just to have like a 3rd set every other day is too much.
I think it's overkill. Yeah.
It's way too much. You're way better off getting good, concise practice, better practice.
Quality over quantity. It's
2
literally,
sets,
it's as simple as that.
As a player, from my perspective, and a lot of players will either agree or they'll lie about it, or some, very few, really do enjoy a 3rd set. You're tired, you're hungry, you've been scrimming all day, it's intense practice, it's stressful, it's not going well. If it's going well, it can only go downhill or stay the same. 3rd sets are overkill. You're playing too much.
Yeah, I agree.
It was miserable.
I mean, there's definitely days where like you kind of need to play. Like if you're just struggling and everybody's on board, but if like you have even if you have 1 or 2 people that aren't going 100% in the 3rd set, and I guarantee you on every team there's at least 1 or 2 people that aren't going as hard in the 3rd set just because of fatigue, whatever it may be. I think it's just too much.
Well, it's just like once in a blue moon, like, oh, a major's coming up. We're gonna
get a 3rd set.
But like to have it consistently for a month,
exactly.
3rd sets every other day in your scrim schedule is miserable.
Yeah.
Does Seattle need a change to be real champs contender this year? My answer is no. I think I don't see a change that Seattle can make right now that can propel them to be a more consistent team. I think Lamar's been playing better statistically.
Lamar's been getting out of that hill, and he's been frying.
And he's been a better slayer than we've been used to. Pred has obviously been dominant. I think Sib now is finally starting to turn it up a notch and play like Sib that we know and love. Mac is a little inconsistent. I'm a big Mac defender. I respect Mac's style of play. I think he's their X factor.
Absolutely.
I think he makes the job for the Slayers that much easier, and it goes unnoticed because he is their dirty work player. Like Pred and Sib can go kill. Mac is doing what needs to be done. I do agree it doesn't excuse some of his statistical inconsistencies. Like it's a part of the game. You have to slay. You can't just be a role player and not make kills. So I think Mac needs to pick it up a little more consistently. Okay. And my only hope for Mac is that he doesn't spiral based on this most recent tournament. Because
I don't think he will.
A tough play. Yeah.
I don't think he will. I think that team definitely has potential to come back and maybe even win one of the last two events. I don't think that team is going to think too much about it. I think they're going to go back and look at that play, and it's going to sting a little bit, but I don't think it's going to compromise their team at all. I mean, they've been together for a while as well.
Ooh, real quick, good one. I'm Swab. What mode do you think could replace Control in the next coming CODs? Anything. Prop Hunt. I'm looking at Prop Hunt. I'm looking at Free-for-all, TDM, fucking anything.
Yeah.
Anything. I don't like watching it, man. I'm sorry.
Okay, the chat keeps spamming this question, so we'll answer it. Seeing how Thieves came into the major prepared for Optic, do the boys need to invest in a coaching system to push them past what they are currently capable of? Guys, what are we talking about? They've gotten second twice back-to-back.
And who the fuck are they bringing in? Steve Kerr?
Yeah, I mean, they've been looking fucking fantastic. Like one of the only things that I could think of, because a coach is going to help you. If you're struggling with an issue, they're gonna get to the bottom. They're gonna look at a broad issue. You know what I'm saying? But right now, the team is only getting better and better and better. I don't think that
Damon just walked past. Everyone's spamming Damon. Damon just walked past 3 times. First time he was swinging a Slim Jim by his nuts.
Yeah.
The second time he walked past rubbing his nipples, and the last time he moonwalked past me doing something I can't say he was doing.
I think it depends on the team. It depends on the coach. And this team, I think that they have JP obviously doing a great job, and they've told us JP is kind of whenever they have a bigger issue, JP will come in and kind of be the voice of reason. But for the most part, they're talking things over inside of the camp and working things out. So, and they've only been getting better. So I think that it's working for them. I think a coach obviously can help if you're coming on stage, but JP's doing all that. Coming on stage, telling them what their search strats are. They're reviewing VOD with JP. I just don't.
I think
a coach is the biggest thing for them right now.
Correct.
And a lot of people have been so hell-bent on that they need a coach, But personally, I don't think they need a fucking coach right now. They got JP, they got the boys, they're doing well.
You know my opinion on this. I think everyone's just overthinking and looking for more and more reasons and more things to talk about. Yes. Oh, we need a coach. Oh, we need this, that. No. Thieves showed up firing. They played great Call of Duty. Optic also played great Call of Duty. Optic needs to improve in control and bringing in 4 fucking coaches that are specialists in control. Or what do you think Call of Duty is? The raw truth is Call of Duty is very basic. You look at the minimap. There are spawns that they've learned for the past 6 months, 8 months.
Yes.
You know where they're spawning. What they're going to do now is they're going to watch the top control teams in the game, pick up on their tendencies, and try to implement it into their gameplay. It's not rocket science. It's Call of Duty.
Yes, exactly. And I think right now, they've gotten second back-to-back. I don't think people realize how fucking hard it is to win right now. It's hard to win right now, man. They've gotten second back-to-back. Clearly something is working, and it's not like they were so close both times. They lost a 5-2 lead to Toronto to go up 3-2 at their major.
Yeah.
And then they lose in a silo control after they choke that lead. And then this one, they honestly get outplayed on the Asilo S&D by Thieves. But I think Thieves were just looking at their gameplay and had a understanding of how Optic plays. Ant gets, he gets aggressive. Kyler will sometimes get aggressive with him a little bit, but they just understand how Optic plays now, and that's just going to keep getting looked at as they keep getting better and better. They've gotten second twice. People are going to be watching them and being ready for what they got. And so is Optic. It's not like Optic isn't watching VOD on Thieves.
Yeah.
I think Thieves just used their information better, and they played better search in the tournament.
I think you just look at the positives. The team is right there. They're on the cusp of winning championships.
Yes, they are.
Everyone is very negative-minded and they want to talk about, oh, we didn't win this one. It's not about this one. The only thing people care about is champs. Obviously, in a perfect world, you win 5 majors and go win champs. The only single tournament talked about every single year is champs. Yeah. Right now, they can go play second at Major 5 and then win champs. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
they won champs. Everyone's
going to be ecstatic that they won champs. So it's like, I think they're on the right trajectory. I think there's a couple things that team needs to work on, and I think the future is bright for the team. I keep saying it. People, obviously, there's going to be optic haters that come in, say whatever the fuck they want, but you can't deny that they've gotten second twice and they've been right there both times. I think that they look great.
What do we think about the Thieves coach behind Optic? Hey, Shane. One of these.
Yeah, hey, Shane.
Oh, that's great, man.
We love Shane. We're just fucking with him.
He's great.
Yeah. But, hey, that's going to do it for the show today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you guys enjoyed. What'd you guys think of the show today, folks?
W-Spam, please. Oh, dude, shout out to Nadeshot, by the way. That was my favorite. I feel like every single week we're just getting better and better. And dude, that guy can fucking talk. He's got me. I want to start a podcast now after that whole talk because I could have sat there all day.
It's going to be very hard to beat Nade's interview. I mean, he took every question, even some of our trollier questions, because we usually give like some like very
he got
serious.
Deep with me, and that tugged at my heartstrings. I can't lie.
We usually give some very serious questions, followed with some trollier questions, and even the trolley kind of questions. The blacklist was supposed to be a trolley question, and he really opened up on it. So
I like that answer a lot. That was the first time he's ever actually spoke about that. Like, actually. Ever.
Really?
Ever.
So you oh, wow. So I opened up a bag of worms.
Yeah. Because, dude, it was serious. It was very serious for me at the time. And obviously him, too. This was, how many years ago? 8 years ago now? Isn't that crazy? Ago. Like 8
it looked like you were getting a little bit,
I was, dude. I mean, you need to know the backstory, and I've talked about the blacklist enough, but that was a really good, that was a great interview. And like I said, I want to start a podcast now.
You want to start a podcast?
Yeah,
you can you can talk.
I can talk. He could talk. Just imagine a podcast where the whole thing is just talking. That's what a podcast is. You know what I mean, dude? Riley, why the fuck are you laughing so hard right now? That is what a podcast, but you know what I meant. Oh yeah, Riley. As soon as these cameras go off, why the fuck is Hitch saying LMAO?
Yeah.
Oh,
tell him it's getting sore.
Yeah, my fucking balls are gonna get sore.
Correct.
With all the riding you guys are doing right now.
Correct. I mean, I'm not gonna do it. We keep it professional on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this evening. We had a great stream. We had the beer league into the breakdown. I think it was very, very smooth. I hope that you guys enjoyed today. Thank you to everybody behind the scenes as well. Riley, Roger, True, my man. Thank you guys all very much.
And thank you to you for watching.
Yeah.
Also, you guys know it. It's uploaded on his YouTube. Usually the nights after. Last time we did the day after, but
depends what time it ends. It's 10 p.m. right now.
Tomorrow.
I mean, holy shit! It's 10. Is it actually 10 p.m.?
Yeah. Wow. I'm not sure what's going on for food.
Huh?
Food. But thank you guys so much for watching.
It's 9:50. Goodness gracious. Yeah. All right. Well, you guys
also
have a great
Spotify.
night.
Please follow on Spotify. Love you guys. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank y'all.